Good morning. Recently, I spent a few hours in London. It shouldn't be that hard. I lived in London for a bit long ago, but nowadays it's a bit of a shock. It's very unfamiliar. When I was there, a car was a useful thing to have, and public transport was useful as well. Nowadays, a car is almost useless and needs special permits anyway. And public transport is at times impossibly busy, and even public transport needs arrangements made in advance. Everything is very busy, very crushed, and perhaps with a slightly hostile tone. Now, London has good points, and many of them. If you have to live in a city, I've often thought it was one of the best. Other cities might easily have all the bad points, but without the good ones. But in the world as a whole, the move to cities is still going strong. The people in these countries, of course, are making their own decisions about their lives, but a lot is lost moving from a small community to an enormous one. In a smaller community, relationships build up naturally, and many people will fit into your life in more than one way. So, for instance, your shoe repairer will be married to someone you went to school with, and so on, and so on. You live among friends and acquaintances, close and distant, and even enemies from your past, but all a part of the full life, because the community itself provides a slot for you to live in. In a city, you have to find and make friends in a much more artificial way, and they won't fit into the sort of matrix that a smaller unit offers. So you have friends at work, friends associated with your hobbies and activities, but all quite separate and all quite liable to disappear when your circumstances change, because the unit you live in isn't supporting you in this sort of way. People have to make their own decisions and choose how to run their own lives. But I don't know whether we aren't asking too much of people and loading them too often with a burden that they cannot stand. Let us pray. O Christ, the world is before us, and we could do so many things. Help us to choose wisely where we should go and what we should do. Sometimes we dream proud dreams of being very important and having everyone look up to us. And other times we think we can't really do much of anything. Help us to dream, Lord, but to dream good and possible dreams. Give us the courage to start living them, the humility to start at the bottom, and the patience to keep on. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Life has become confusing, complex, and full of pressures, God. We are pulled this way and that by too many demands and desires. It is impossible to be our best selves in the midst of this. Yet it is also hard to know how to make life simpler. Help us to choose, God. Everything we do seems like something we should do, and yet we know that if we do not stop doing some things, we will be able to do nothing well. And if we do not leave some peace and quiet to listen to you, we will fail you, ourselves, and others. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer.